All right. So obviously you've been using K2X for quite a while, and you've now recently just taken the shift over to K2X Auto.
Yep.
I guess, have you found that in total?
So far, it's been great. I think the experience has been probably better than my expectations to start with. I think it's obviously a new technology that the world's starting to evolve to, and I feel like our industry definitely has a place for it. And to start with, I think that I was always willing to give things a go, and it beat my expectations to start with. I feel like the authenticity that it comes across is really, really good. Clients seem to take well to it, and I just think the sheer volume that the AI can produce, far outweighs what potentially some others can offer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely see value in it.
Yeah.
At this stage,
Obviously, it's a little bit cheaper as well, which is good.
Yeah, definitely helps. Especially when these things are something that the agent's usually paying for themselves. Some of the other marketing options we use in our industry is passed on to the vendor usually. So it's a bit of a different proposition, I suppose. I definitely think it's value for money at this stage.
Yeah, cool. And I guess like the results between K2X and K2X Auto, have you, seen any difference in them at all?
I think they're relatively similar in some ways. I wouldn't say one outweighs the other, which then comes back down to the value, I suppose. If your cost is at a reasonable level, not saying that the others weren't, obviously, but then I think that but also it's about value to the client too. If they feel like they're getting something or getting offered something in return, I feel like that's the main objective here as well.
Absolutely. So I guess the feedback's been pretty good when you talk to a client and they've spoken to the AI.
Yep.
You found it to all be, above board.
Correct, and I think that obviously comes back to you guys, and you know what you need to do. We're not trying to belittle anyone here or do anything unusual. The AI obviously notifies who they are and what they're doing. There's no tricks here or trying to do anything that's unusual. I think that's notified at the start, and then people, whether they're willing to or not, then obviously provide information on their situation and move forward if they want anything else further.
Yeah, fantastic. So I guess with the information that the AI collects and all the sort of notes that you get after it, how have you sort of found that in terms of making that next phone call to the client with all the information that you've got?
I think it's as accurate as you could expect. I think, of course, there's some slight hiccups sometimes with spelling of suburbs or people's names, but you can definitely make out who they are, or of course you could cross-reference in your own database where you've provided the information from. Who they are and what their situation is, really. There's obviously some instances where, things are spelt wrong and whatnot, but it's not hard to figure out what that might be.
Yeah, of course. And so with those leads that I guess you've called, they've spoken to the AI, you've actually attended appointments off the back of some of these leads.
Correct. Yeah, definitely. Dozens, I would say. And anytime we've attended those meetings, there hasn't been any confusion around why they were called or who was the caller. I think it's common in some other businesses already. It's not just real estate outbound calls. I think other businesses are already providing similar solutions, or even inbound calls have been AI for a long time. I would say in other businesses. So it's something that people are still getting used to, but it's not something brand new that people are confused about or unsure about.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. So I guess with those appointments, have they been put back into the pipeline? So they're, I guess, on your horizon to list those properties at some point, I'm assuming.
Correct. So far we've had at least one listing come from this these outbound calls, and then probably at least another 24, which are in our pipeline for the back end of this year.
Amazing. That's awesome. So I guess the return on investment is definitely there then.
So far, so good. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I guess these people that you've spoken to after they've had a chat to the AI, did they have any sort of pushback on the fact that they did get called by an AI? Did they, know they were speaking to an AI? What was kind of the feedback around that?
Feedback so far has been, some people have taken to it, definitely, and have no problem with it at all. In some ways, they almost feel a little bit more inclined to provide maybe more information, given that there might not be any judgment, or that's obviously, it might just be recorded. There's not going to be a kickback in any response from a human might provide, or they feel like they're never going to offend it, of course, as well. So that also helps sometimes people provide more information than they might otherwise. But either way, I think the disclosure at the start of the call helps notify the client that They are talking to an AI. There's no confusion there. And yeah, that's so far it's been.
Mate, awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So I guess there's a lot of people out there, a lot of agents out there that are a little bit hesitant to, I guess, engage an AI caller to do the prospecting on their behalf. I guess what would you say to those people coming from a position yourself where you've been on the other side of it before you've actually engaged them? What would, I guess, you say to the agents?
I just think that this model is something that it's a task that needs to be done in our industry. And whether you're good at it or not good at it, someone needs to do it. And I think this is a good solution for people who maybe are time poor or busy doing other things, or their skill set is better at other avenues in the business. And at the end of the day, the AI is never going to offend anyone and ruin your brand, I wouldn't say. There might be some confusion around a call, but it's never going to come across, and I don't think you'll ever get any feedback of this person said this to me, or why do they say that? Because they're not trained to do that or not.
Absolutely.
The software doesn't provide that, I'm sure, those in the vocabulary.
For sure. I mean, it's very difficult for an AI to be rude, I guess.
And I've seen some transcripts obviously come through that you provided, and a lot of them have just been confusion. They haven't been, why did this person call me? I've said not to call me, or whatever it might be. It's really just, who is this person and was that an AI? Is all it is so far.
Cool. Awesome.
And you obviously we're on K2X, the human calling side, for a while now, and you've transitioned to K2X Auto. At the point of transitioning, what was your biggest hesitation? What were you thinking could go wrong?
I think it was more just around the capability of the AI. I think I underestimated it a bit to start with, hence why we sort of just gave it a go. I didn't really have a plan for it moving forward. I wasn't initially thinking this is our business moving forward. I just thought this is a new, strategy you guys are trying to do, so why not give it a go? I did that, and since then we've definitely seen the benefits in it, and I feel like it's definitely the way of the future, and we obviously want to get on board those things early. In a landscape like real estate, which is ever evolving technology wise, I'd like to be on top of that as soon as possible.
That's awesome. And how long have you been using K2X Auto now?
I think it's got to be 6 months, I think, roughly, give or take. Which is so far been great, really. I think that we're only moving forward. We're only trying to think of more ways to use it in different avenues of our business. And I think it's been a great success so far. Excellent.
And from your perspective, how many? I know you've mentioned the complaint situation, but curious, over the 6 months, how many complaints have you received from using AI?
Less than half a dozen, I would say, out of thousands of calls. I think the other thing which I think you should do if you are thinking of taking this up is you do need to put a little bit of time and effort into the information that's provided first, which is what we try and do as well. We don't just, pull out thousands of names and numbers. We actually tailor it a little bit more than that.
And when you tailor it, what do you do?
So we definitely pinpoint, for starters, we prioritize people who we know what properties they own and the best information we can provide for those people. And then also only most recent data as well. We don't go back years and years and try and clean that. We try and keep it pretty relevant. And then moving forward, we obviously collate that data and then try and clean it up so that in a year, 2 years time, hopefully that's as best as possible.
And over the last 6 months, how many results, as in people that we've identified as sellers, do you think we found?
I think at least 2 dozen. I'd have to clarify, but I think it'd be at least in the 20s, if not 30s, of people who have notified us that they either want to sell. We've had a couple that have started selling immediately, but the majority, of course, are 6 to 12 months away. And that's clearly up to us now to push them towards the next stage and keep in touch with them. But it's a great door opener.
Excellent.
And it's been a good success so far.
And you got your first listing from K2X Auto. When did you get that? How long into the period of calling until you got that?
About 2 months, I would say.
2 months in. First listing.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, perfect. If someone was sitting on the fence right now, worried about AI, what it's going to do, how it works, all that kind of stuff, what would you say to them?
I would say definitely give it a go. I think for the value that you guys charge and what you offer, I think a lot of agents were probably spending that kind of investment on other things which maybe don't give as good a return already. I would say just give it a go. I feel like what's the harm? If you get a couple of calls here or there from someone who maybe you don't even talk to anyway, who's confused around what the call was, I feel like that's that outcome is better than not doing it at all.
Excellent. Thanks, Jermaine.